Once upon a time in a small kingdom, there lived a beautiful girl called Cinderella. Her mother had died when she was very young, and so Cinderella lived alone with her father. She loved her father dearly, but he knew that his daughter needed a mother, so he married again. Cinderella's stepmother had 2 daughters of her own, Drizella and Anastasia. Soon, however, Cinderella's father died, leaving his daughter to be cared for by her stepmother. Cinderella soon realized that her new family were jealous of her beauty. Before long, she was forced to become a servant in her own home. Living in a tiny bedroom in the attic, she only had birds and mice as friends. But through it all, Cinderella still believed her dreams would one day come true. One morning, Jaq, the little mouse, came running in. A visitor had been caught in a trap. "Hurry, Cinderella! Come, come!" he called. Cinderella was worried because she really cared for the mice. She always made sure they have enough food to eat, and even made little clothes for them to wear. She dashed out of her room and ran down the long stairway to the cellar. When Cinderella reached the trap, she found a plump little mouse caught inside. Cinderella gave him a little shirt, cap, and shoes. She decided to call him Gus. Cinderella headed to the kitchen to start preparing breakfast. "Don't forget to warn Gus about Lucifer," she called out to Jaq. Lucifer belonged to Cinderella's stepmother. He was a sly and lazy cat, and all the other animals hated him, especially Bruno the dog. After Cinderella had given Lucifer his milk, she went out into the yard. "It's breakfast time, everybody," Cinderella called sweetly. The chickens gathered around Cinderella as she tossed them corn to eat. Major the horse watched happily from the barn. The mice were invited too, but first they had to get past Lucifer. Bravely, Jaq tiptoed silently up behind the nasty cat. With one swift kick, Jaq knocked the cat's paw out from under him and... splat! Lucifer's face fell right into his bowl of milk. Now the mice had time to scurry past Lucifer and out into the yard. But Gus was so busy gathering food, he didn't notice Lucifer creep up on him until it was too late. At the last minute, Gus managed to escape and scamper up the kitchen table to hide under a teacup. Just then, a voice shrieked from upstairs. "Cinderella!" Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were impatient for breakfast. Cinderella rushed into the kitchen and grabbed the breakfast trays for the family. She was such in a hurry, she didn't notice Gus hiding under one of the teacups. Carefully balancing the trays, Cinderella climbed the long stairway to the bedrooms. As he reached the top of the staircase, she heard a familiar screech. "Cinderella?" It was Drizella. Cinderella rushed into Drizella's bedroom. "Take that ironing and have it ready in an hour," Drizella demanded. Next, Cinderella went to Anastasia's room to give her breakfast. "It's about time," Anastasia whined. Just as Cinderella left the last tray with her stepmother, she heard a frantic scream. Anastasia had discovered Gus under her teacup. She ran to complain to her mother. "Come here," Cinderella's stepmother ordered from the dark shadows of her bed. Cinderella moved towards the bed and pleaded, "Oh, please, you don't think that I—" "Hold your tongue!" her stepmother commanded. Assuming Cinderella had put Gus under the teacup on purpose, her stepmother gave her a list of extra chores to do, including giving Lucifer a bath. Meanwhile, at the royal palace, the king was discussing his son with the Grand Duke. "It's time he got married," said the king. Then he had an idea. "We'll have a ball," he said, "and invite every young maiden in the land. The prince will surely choose one of them to marry." The invitations were sent out that very day. When the invitation arrived from the palace, Cinderella took it straight to her stepmother. Drizella and Anastasia could hardly contain their excitement. Realizing that she too was invited, Cinderella quickly joined in. Her stepsisters laughed at the idea, but her stepmother said, "I see no reason why you can't go if you get all your work done and find something suitable to wear." Cinderella rushed upstairs to search for the right gown to wear. She chose one that had belonged to her mother. When the mice said that it looked a little old-fashioned, Cinderella smiled. She knew that with a little work, it would be a wonderful new dress. Cinderella! Cinderella! Her stepsisters and stepmother called out frantically. "Oh, now what do they want?" Cinderella sighed, heading to the door. The mice realized that Cinderella would never have time to finish the dress, so they decided to do it themselves. Gus and Jaq found a pretty pink sash and shiny string of blue beads that Cinderella's stepsisters had thrown away. Soon, with a needle and thread, the simple dress was turned into a beautiful gown. Later that evening, Cinderella climbed wearily up to the attic. Her stepmother and stepsisters had kept her busy right up until it was time to leave for the ball. Now she could only dream about what it would be like to meet the prince. Then Cinderella heard something behind her. She turned and saw her new dress. "Surprise!" called her friends. Cinderella was overwhelmed and thanked her little friends for all their hard work. She dressed quickly and ran down the stairs to join her stepsisters. But when Drizella and Anastasia saw her Cinderella, they were filled with jealousy. "Why, you little thief!" screamed Drizella, tearing at the beads around Cinderella's neck. Then Anastasia grabbed the sash. "That's mine!" she shrieked, ripping it from the dress. Soon Cinderella's beautiful gown was in tatters. Heartbroken, Cinderella ran to the garden in tears. Now her dream would never come true. "There's nothing left to believe in. Nothing," she sobbed.